So we're not going to have a video with this. This is our third take of this. We bring up points, and we'll explain our points here in just a second. But I'm going to explain kind of where it is we're coming from. We're talking too long, and we're not moving on. So we'll stay on this subject for what felt like 30 minutes, well over 30 minutes, and we're not really moving on. So what I'm going to try and do now is be quicker with our points. So just hang with us. We're still trying to figure out a format too with this.
Yeah, because the first episode we did was just pretty much us, getting a lot off our chest with the frustrations with MSU management at Morehead University College and the difficulties that was thrown against us when we were doing the film challenge. We were just getting stuff off our chest, and of course, if you've seen the first episode, then obviously you know that it was just pretty much just uh, it got off topic quite a bit. It was just very, I guess it was a mess,
Yeah,
but a very fun mess though.
it was a fun mess, which we brought up some good points. We had moments where we followed through our thoughts and our opinions on things, and we made our points pretty clear, but they could have been a lot quicker and a lot more um, understood.
In our defense, we were tired and we didn't give a shit.
We didn't give a shit, but we at the time we wanted to explain what was going on in our heads.
So do you not deny that we were tired as hell?
No, I don't deny it. Um, but I'll add this on an ending note with that. Go see the film, and you'll see where our tiredness came from.
Tiredness that was worth it. Enough said. But yeah, just like the point about this episode is just pretty much talking about how our families, those certain types of people in the families that always nag you for uh, not settling for a well-paying job that makes you feel like crap,
Yeah.
like a factory job, or in your case, a welding job.
Well, recently my dad, which we're not. My mom and dad are divorced. They've been divorced since I was like since 2002. So I think I was 8, 7 or 8 when they divorced. So I don't want to say that my dad and I aren't very close, but we don't really talk to each other that much, which is probably the definition of not being close. Um, but without getting into that whole thing, like he called me the other day, and I guess in respect to like wanting me to start this welding job, and I had no idea about it. He wanted me to basically just drop everything that I'm doing with my life and go to this welding job, which I believe they offered to some of my family, and they had to deny it because of family or something like that. They're like, hey, you should totally do this. And I'm in this position where I know nothing about welding. I've never once touched any type of like equipment of that at all. And at the time, I'm like, man, that's welders do make a lot of money. They make like $50 an hour at most. Like, I don't know, starting out, I think it's 15 from what my dad told me, but I have no idea what it is or why they would come up to me offering me this job. And I'm like, I confronted my mother about it, and I said, look, I don't know what's going on, but this is a lot of money. I don't know what position my dad is in to offer this to me, or like what who it is in my family that wants to offer this to me. Like I'm so confused by this because I know there are tons of people out there that are more qualified than myself to do this job, but they want me to do it. So is a part of the problem finding people that are around my age that have enough time in their life to get the experience, but also don't have kids and aren't being held back. So is that the problem? Finding people that are willing to do the job and aren't being held back by anything. If that's the problem, then I can see why they would be coming to me. But aside from that, I'm trying, or we're Greg and I are trying our best to explain what it is that we do in terms of filming and like where we've come from in our backgrounds. And I think our main point of this is not settling for for crap and doing what it is you love, even in the face of, when someone is throwing a bunch of money, like dollar signs at you, and you're like, man, this looks great, but then you get done to it, and then you realize, man, I've thrown my whole life away because I didn't do what I loved, and I did it all for money.
But yeah, that seems to be the problem, especially around here. It's just like you're expected to just settle, find someone to marry to become your wife and have kids with them, and then settle for a crappy job that pays well, so you can support the wife and kids, work, come home, sleep, rinse, repeat. Then you retire, and then you die. Um, and I don't know, but that's not the life neither one of us wants to live. And I can relate with that issue a lot because one of my grandparents, from my dad's side of the family, pretty much has tried pretty much nagging me into signing up for a job for the factory that they're going to be building off the industrial parkway in Grayson, for the training program and all that. And I was just like, no, because that's not what I want to. That's not what I want to do. And their word was, and I'll never forget it. It's not about the money. It's not. Let me rephrase. It's not about what you love. It's about the money. And I'm just like,
And how long ago was that when they nagged you?
it was just a couple years ago, actually.
So you had just graduated.
Yeah, it was just like this was a repeated conversation. It's like, yeah, I think the most recent was 2 years ago, but she kept bringing this up a few years before, even before I graduated. So it was just pretty much that
Yeah, but you were still in the process of graduating. Is the thing, like you were still in that mindset of like, hey, you were already at college, you were already nearing the finish line of it. Like it is so odd, like going back to what like just hold your point. I don't want to interrupt, but it's very odd that like it seems like if you're close to graduating, if you're at the end of your road, it seems like all the people around you, or not all the people, but there is a certain group of people around you that want to almost deter you from finishing, what it is you started.
yeah,
It only happens when you're towards the end.
well, and also it just like seems like when you pursue something you love, they find that odd. They find that crazy. They find that childish and unrealistic. It's just like and I've heard people say it's like you need to grow up and come back to reality because that's not for you. I mean, for Christ's sake, kid, we're in Ashland, Kentucky. That's not for us. And I'm just like, and who decides that? And I just think that's what it is. It's just like, because a lot of these people have the mentality of, you know what, if I didn't get to live my dreams, why should you? And I'm just like, that's very selfish. Because I'm just like, why do you want to bring other people down who want to live their dreams, just because you didn't get to live yours? Or it doesn't mean you have to force other people down to the bottom of the lake to drown with you. And it baffles me. And just like, and it's like most of these people gave up halfway. And I don't, and that's just the thing. And that's why I don't want to sell, because I don't want to give up. I want to achieve this because I want to set an example to my niece and nephew, to my cousin, to to anyone, any kid around here in the area. I want to set an example to them and say, if this is the career you want, you got to bust your ass, and you got to ignore the naysayers who tell you exactly what we just talked about just now in this podcast. You need to settle. You need to straighten up, and enough of this childish dream bullshit. You need to get a real job and pay your bills. I'm like, yes, if we succeed with the careers we're going for, we'll be able to pay our bills. But struggle comes with success.
And yeah, it's like we're not coming at this from the perspective of we've never tried anything else. We're strictly just coming out of high school and college thinking, oh man, we just want to get it, we want to do film and that's it. No, we both work regular jobs right now. Like you work at Arby's,
That's true.
And I'm a lifeguard at the freaking YMCA. I have been since 2013. It's 2019 now. I'm done with it. I don't want to do that anymore. Yes, I could be pursuing other things, but you get caught in this vicious cycle of like you got to pay your bills, you got to pay these things, and yeah, my job is fairly simple, but at the same time, it's like I can't keep it up. It's too much. I can't do the same thing for the rest of my life. I'm going to be 25 this year, and I want to pursue different things. And like, yeah, I'm still stuck at college. I've been at college for since 2013, since I graduated high school. Yes, I'm a little late, a lot late. I took a year off for some mental health reasons, and I'm back, and I've got a year left, and that's it. I've come so far, and like it boggles my mind to think that it's been 6 years, and will have been next year. I think 7 that I've been in college, and it's just a crazy thought that I've come this far, and like again, we're not coming from that whole perspective of we don't want to do anything else but film. Like, yeah, I personally want to try different things. I want to fix cars. You know, I love that whole thought. I love the thought of like restoring things, and like I have other ambitions, but film is like my main focus, and like that's what I love doing.
And it's something you would like to make a comfortable living doing. It's like with me, I want to make a comfortable living as an actor, but I also want to make a comfortable living doing film as well. I just like or producing film. I think I've been pretty good with that because a producer provides the equipment and items that we need. Correct?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. So with most films that we've done, I've mostly provided props, makeup, equipment, mostly the equipment, and so there is a career that we can make out of this. It's just and but it's just not going to be here in Ashland. And just like I think, unfortunately, yes, because
I want to film things, and we'll go back to your point. I want to film things in Ashland. I love where I'm from. I hate that there's not more of a community for what it is we're doing. And I know there are a ton of people out there in the states that are having the exact same issue, but like it's that we have a community that just has no interest in what we're doing at all, and then you're coming from an area that is very poor. Like this is Appalachia. No one has money for anything. So if you want to pursue something ambitious, you're going to be heavily like you're going to have laser beams staring into your soul for it. Like you're going to have a lot of resistance to wanting to pursue something in the Appalachian region. And I know I'm not alone here. I know other places in the United States are just like that, but Appalachia specifically, man, it's a whole new ballpark.
yeah, it just to go back to the point, it's just like it seems like with anything that we've done, it's just like there's always we're always looked down upon for that. It's just like any film we do. It's like they look down at like a kid who's playing pretend business.
Yeah.
I'm just like, but we're not trying to do a pretend business here. We're actually any short film that we do, we put it to the highest quality that we can give with what resources we have, and present them to film festivals to get our names out there, because that's what you should do when you get into film is you make short films and do the best you can and then present them, get your name out there, get word of mouth out there. Like for example, it's like when we were doing the U-Pike Festival for Welcome to Die. It's just like, I mean, it's not much, but it's a start. So for people to say, you need to settle and all this stuff, and I just think, for crying out loud, and I would rather be struggling and be broke, but happy, than, make good money with a crappy job that sucks out your soul and whatever energy you have to where you are not able or have no energy or no motivation to pursue other interests like film, art,
It's
etc.
It's interesting because like I know I touched on this like a second ago with my dad throwing this job at me, and like and it's incredibly like tempting. Like that's a lot of money, but I don't know if there would be that room to where I could still pursue what it is I want, and I just don't know. I mean, am I gonna do this job? I don't know. I know nothing about it. I don't know what the stakes are. I don't know if there's a contract. I just don't know. But would I do it if the stars align and everything's fine? Like, yeah, I probably would. But again, like, it's finding that balance too. And I don't want to give up on what I'm doing here, but I don't know how the cards are going to come out. You know, it's completely different, and if I were to do that, it would change my complete lifestyle. I don't know how it would all work out. Um, I don't know. I had a different point, I think, but that's kind of like along the lines of what it is you're saying is is like giving up on what it is you love, but like you still want to be happy. Like I don't know if I would if because right now I'm in a situation where financially I'm not in the best one ever. I'm not, and when people start throwing dollar signs and stuff at you, it becomes incredibly tempting.
It is. It definitely is. I can definitely relate to that because I'm in my own struggles too. Because once you graduate, student loans come calling, and then every paycheck you make, it pretty much takes up the whole daggum thing. It's like uh, recently I just had to ask one of my relatives to lend me money to help me at least make it to my next payday because that's just what it does. Your auto insurance, your student loans takes up 90% of your paycheck, so that other 10% barely gets you from point A to B.
Exactly, and like you want to be a responsible like adult, and you want to be able to take care of your bills, and you want to be able to like live your life, but also do what you love. But at the same time, you got to be responsible.
Yeah.
And it really hurts like when you have to like borrow money from people and like
Yeah, and this is the one thing that pisses me off, and just because I've got quite a few relatives who think that I enjoy asking money off my relatives. No, I don't. And I'll be quite honest, I fucking hate it. I hate having to do it.
it's not like you're being a deadbeat about it either. You've got
No.
you're going to college, you're making your own money. You're just in a tight spot financially.
Yeah, and just like, and of course, I'm not going to name names or uh, specific, family members, but there's one who just stares daggers at me every time I walk into the room. I can't cook, I can't do nothing in that house because every time I'm in the same room with this person, he gets angry. And because he strongly and stubbornly believes that I just stay in my room and do nothing all day, which is bullshit. Because I'm just
You're
like,
not in your room all day. Like how are you in your room all day? You work.
I guess he refuses to believe that. I guess I fabricated going to Arby's just to make it look like I'm doing something. Oh, really? The $330 worth of bullshit that I make every 2 weeks was fabricated. Oh, that comes from my mom. No, it just, there's some family members who think that I should settle, but at the same time they think that I'm a deadbeat who does nothing and that just mooches off of his parents that he lives with. And I'm just like, here's the thing. I'm not living the high life because the one thing I hate the most is living with my parents but it's not that I want to. It's that it's the only logical choice I can make right now that doesn't require me living in a homeless shelter or on the streets of Ashland. So I moved back with my parents because it was the only option I had. It's not that I wanted to, it was that I had to. But it's like preaching to a wall because no matter what you say, it's here's a better figurative description. It's like trying to reason with a giant boulder rolling down a hill. The only result you get your ass ran over either way.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes back to like you want to be responsible, you want other people to understand where you're coming from, but
But the thing is, they refuse to understand because they want to believe that you're something that you're not. They want to believe that you're a mooch. They want to believe that you're just leeching off these people, that you're not trying hard enough, that you're not doing hard enough. And that's bullshit. You weren't there struggling with me. You weren't there busting your ass off trying to make something work. So don't act like you know what was going on. You weren't there. So to those people, shut the frick up. You weren't there. Don't act like you know everything. Don't act like you were there witnessing it all from beginning to end. I know I was struggling. And the family members who do support me know that I'm struggling. And what aggravates me is there's some people that are so stubborn, so egotistically self righteous, that they think they're too good to be wrong about somebody. That once they have a perception of who you are, that's who they expect you to be.
yeah, it's odd you bring that up. It's like if you come out, they say first impressions mean everything, and they do.
Yeah, and that's the first impression that some of these family members hold on to. I'm just like, for crying out loud. That person was 12 years ago. Move on.
And they will never let go of it.
No,
I don't know. That is a really. I mean, that's a whole subject in itself. Is just talking about first impressions.
Yeah, it just, oh my gosh, it just aggravates the hell out of me because I'm just like, yes, when I was, in high school, I didn't do much because, yes, I was sheltered. But throughout these past 11 years, when I got back into college, when I got my license, and then, the 7 years when I got back into college, and when I've done work in amusement parks and stuff, I've made so much progression. I've made so much progress. I've improved so much since the person who I was 11 years ago. I've changed so much. Yet all of that, all those milestones of progress were greatly ignored because these people hold a stubborn belief
It's
of who I am, of who they believe me to be, despite the evidence.
I can't tell you enough like how important it is to be around people that share the same or similar vision to yours. Like I think that's honestly the biggest part of success is being around people that have the same vision as you, have the same ambitions, have the same or not even the exact same ideas, similar ideas. Just it's not even about what their ideas are. It's just having that mentality of like, okay, I know I'm going to struggle with this, but eventually I'm going to get somewhere with it.
Yeah, it's just like the same people have that creative drive, that ambition.
Yeah,
That
and what we're
and just like that creative drive that falls with the ambition and with the that same idea, that same dream that you want to make a successful career being because with me, the way I see it is just like, the career I want to go for is to be a storyteller. I don't care if I'm telling a story in acting, in writing, in filming, just something that, make a comfortable living doing a paid career doing what I love. Why is that a sin?
and like it's just honestly, I think that's the biggest problem is finding people that share the same like mindset, and and it's hard, man. Like it's hard for me to be around people all day that just they don't have any type of ambition, any type of drive at all, and you're stuck with people like that all the time. So it's very wearing on you to try and be remotely enthusiastic because it's so odd too in this sense that it's really hard for me to be excited about things anymore. I don't, and like obviously as you get older, I understand that mentality kind of goes away because there's always a catch to things. Like it's hard to be excited because there's this other part of you or somebody telling you, hey, you got to be careful here. You don't know. This is a gamble.
Oh yeah, been there in that situation.
Yeah, and so like you can't take gambles. No one will support you in a gamble.
Yeah, it was like with when I went down to Walt Disney World, and just like and this is one of the things that I think one of my family members is so pissed off at me about, because me and thinks I'm a mooch for it, because I mooched off of my family to help me go down to Florida, only to fail and come back whining to mommy. I'm just like, that's not how it happened. It just pretty much I had to make a logical decision. That was what it all boiled down to. And just like, and you don't know how things are going to turn out. It's like, at least I can say that, I went down there, worked at Walt Disney World, and say, hey, I worked at Walt Disney World. How many other people can say that? And
I
yes,
mean, a lot of people can probably say they worked at Walt Disney World, but I don't think a lot of people can say, well, I did, because like you can just be like a regular worker there,
yeah,
working like for the rides, but like what Greg was doing was stage work, which
yeah, and
you gotta have a degree for that.
yeah, and it just like I worked, behind the scenes as a technician for, for tech crew for Star Wars Galaxy Far Far Away at Hollywood Studios, and also I worked on the 20th anniversary of Fantasmic. I worked on the 20th anniversary show of Fantasmic. So, how many other people can say that? And yes, I was laid off, but I wasn't the only one. There was like a couple hundred other people that had the misfortune of having that talk in the office as much as I did. So, but to have those same family members say that you're a failure because you didn't get the full time job there. So all that money that your family sacrificed to help you pick up your life and move down to Florida was for nothing. And I just say bullshit.
It's so interesting too, in the sense that like you get a degree, you go to college, like you go to your job, and then you're at the 90-day trial, and you have to switch your whole day around, like your whole life around to to move into the location of your job, and then after 90 days they can just drop you like a fly, and then you don't know what to do with yourself, and then, like it's that problem that we're talking about is, excuse me, is getting down to a place and getting a bunch of people. Like you had to get some money to go down there just to
Yeah.
live, and once you get down there you get even remotely settled, and then finally you find an apartment, you find where it is you need to go, and then you've been working, and you're like, man, this is going well. All right, I might be able to make a living out of this, and then they can just drop you like a fly, like we don't really like what you're doing, and so then you have to completely go back on your plans
Yeah.
and try to find a whole nother way to live, and that in Greg's case resorted in him having to move back to Ashland.
Yeah, and just like, but that's just the thing. It's just like try explaining that to some of the naysayers in your family who want you to settle. It's like, see, he mooched off of his mother, grandmother, aunt, blah blah blah, to move down to Florida just for a little bit, and then he came all the way back here. Why didn't he just get a job down there? And I'm just like, and some of those family members who said that just didn't want me to come back. And I understand, but I'd rather be struggling and be with my family. And if it come to think of it, that came as a blessing because I got to spend a little more time with my grandma from my mom's side before her passing, which was just a couple weeks ago. And I'm still reeling from it, but and and these people still, some of these naysayers from my dad's side of the family still, talk down to me like I have not accomplished anything. I'm just like, I've done a hell of a lot more than any of you have ever done. I've done a hell of a lot more. So why should I settle now when I'm, making progress, when I'm chipping away at the iceberg, and I finally got a jackhammer to take a whack at this son of a bitch, and you guys want me to just pull the plug. And just I just don't get that. It's like, why should I sell now? I mean, I've progressed this far, and as long as I got a pulse in my veins, a beat in my heart, and breath in my lungs, I'm gonna pursue this career down to my last breath. If I'm still struggling on my last breath, so be it. What I do is no one else's business. And yes, if I have people who family members who still support me, great. If I have friends who support me, awesome. But if you don't support me, and forgive me for being ever so blunt, then get the hell out of my way.
Yeah, you can have concerns about what it is anyone's doing. Like I understand that people, can have their doubts and have their issues with me doing what I'm doing, and like, man, that's scary territory right there. Like, how do you expect to make a living out of this? And I know people don't fully understand that. I'm like, yes, I understand what I'm doing is very much a gamble, and like you said earlier, you want to be a storyteller. My whole thing is I don't even really want to be a storyteller. I enjoy telling stories, but like I just want to produce something. Like the idea, me working behind a camera and doing something that I like. I love that feeling. I have ever since I was like born. In like you can probably go to my Film Freeway account and see my whole bio about it. But like, dude, I wanted when I was real little, I wanted to be a storm chaser. Still do. Like when I grew up, me, like little, wanted to be a storm chaser. Still do, man. Like I don't know what it is. Like I guess it's just the adrenaline rush. But like the idea, just in the moment having a camera behind my hand, producing something, making something. It's just I love it. It doesn't even have to be a movie. I just love producing things visually.
You want to go take a road trip to Tornado Alley sometime?
I want to. I want to go see. I've never seen a tornado, and I want to so bad. You don't even know.
Well, I'll just say this: if we do, and if you want to get up and close, yeah, you go up close and personal. I'll keep a
It's
distance.
kind of sad now. I mean, like I know I think in Ohio and over all that, like just recently, there was a lot of tornadoes and stuff. And like, man, we have barely even got a storm, and like everyone around us is getting the worst weather in the world. And I'm like, all I want is a good storm. I can't even get that, and everyone's getting tornadoes around me. It's like not fair. It's terrible. It's a terrible thought. Like there are people dying. I'm like, I just love storms, man. There's a word for this.
You love tornadoes.
No, it's just like I guess it's really just the adrenaline rush.
He wants to be a nader chaser. There we go. I think I just pretty much coined a new phrase. Nader chasers.
You need to capitalize on that.
Oh, yeah. I'll just have a T-shirt with which shows a tornado and it says Nader Chaser, and there would be like a beat up pickup truck at the top of the tornado with some hillbilly sticking his head out of the truck with a beer in his hand going, whee!
Someone needs to make that a thing.
Yeah. I don't know. That might be a skit, once we get better effects and stuff. But
Speaking about effects, I think this is a good moment to transition over to talking about movies.
yeah.
What is like future plans? What it is we want to do, and just talk about ambitions in general.
Yeah.
What we want to do.
Yeah, we pretty much spoke our piece about the people telling us to settle and all that, and I'm just gonna. I know this is blunt to say, but to those people that say that we should get a crappy, well-paying job and just settle, I can tell you where to kiss it. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And
Like I said before, people are going to have their concerns about what it is I'm doing. That's fine. But if you're going to be one of those people that honestly don't have a clue what it is I'm doing, and if you have genuine concerns, I respect you. But if you're just going to come at me and just talk me down from doing what it is I want to do, to put it simply, you can go away. I don't want to curse because I don't want to make enemies here. But like, if you're not going to offer to me any type of
advice.
any type of not even critical advice, it's constructive criticism or constructive advice into how I can better pursue myself, or maybe if you see that I'm doing something wrong, that's fine. Like that's a conversation that we can have. But if you're just gonna sit here and be like, I don't like what you're doing, I don't think it's the right route to go, I think you need to quit now, and but they won't make it sound like that. They'll try their best to back it up in a way that best befits them.
Yeah.
But they're not really offering any type of constructive criticism in how you should maybe not approach a situation.
Yeah, I also love that they're saying I'm just looking out for you. I'm just trying to look out for what's best for you, and I'm just like, no, you're looking out for what's best for yourself.
And like, and that's, I mean, that might not be entirely true. They might honestly be trying to come at that from the perspective of looking out for you. But like, it's a lot of fear. It's a lot
Yeah,
of fear coming from the opposition.
yeah. It's just like I understand the fear, but it's like, but that's what makes it more challenging. It's just that fear. It's just like don't fear it, embrace it, and just and go for it if that's what you want to do. Yeah, and I think the thing that they fear the most is failure. Of course, there's going to be failures. I mean, look at Walt Disney. He failed multiple times before he made success with his cartoons, which has now made a multi-billion, became a multi-billion-dollar media empire along with amusement parks.
It's an empire. It's not. It's not even like a business at this point. It is actually an empire.
It's monopoly, only without the legal justifications because the government has been bribed by the company.
Just about.
Yeah. But it's like a lot of people have made failures before they made successes. Like Jeff Dunham made a lot of failures before he made success. Every famous person has made failures. So if you're trying to prevent me from failing, I respect that. I respect the, but you're not going to learn anything if you don't fail. And in order to learn, you have to fail. And in order to you have to make mistakes in order to learn.
Yeah, and by no means am I saying go liquidize all your assets and go for it. Like, no, I'm not saying that at all.
Oh hell no, we're not saying
I'm
that.
not saying that you should go play the lottery and just go play it till, because that eventually will end up with in the outcome of you being homeless. Like, obviously, yes, we're taking a gamble, but it's more of a educated gamble. It's not like this. Oh, I'll just keep trying this till it works. Like, if something's not working, you gotta switch gears and find out a way to where it will work. Like, and that's kind of where we're coming from. Like, we've made very small bits of progress that we know that, like, okay, these 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 areas aren't working for us, but these are. So let's try to reevaluate the situation, see what it is that we can do better, and just literally create progress out of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not perfect. I don't expect it to be, but it's the journey of trying things and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And yes, it is really difficult because of fear doing these things. But again, like, I understand where people are coming from with it. People have their concerns, and I respect that, and that's totally fine if they want to come up to me and be like, "Hey, this I don't think this will work because," and I can understand that. But some people are honestly out there. I don't want to say exactly for themselves, but they're very much controlled by fear, and they'll try and spread that onto you. And you have to come at the point of you have to come from the perspective like, look, I respect what it is you're saying. I really do, but I'm just that's not the route I'm going with this.
Yeah.
And like, and there are people that do that their whole lives, and it doesn't work out for them. And I totally understand that they don't want me to turn into some like deadbeat guy trying to do what I love when there's just not a mark or anything for it. And again, controlled by fear, you just gotta. It's tough. It's tough. In layman's terms, it's tough. I get it. I get it. Like, it's crazy to a lot of people. Like, what it is I'm doing. It's an incredibly competitive field. But at the same time, maybe it's not that competitive. Maybe for what it is I'm wanting to do, it's not that hard at all. It's just trying to find the people around you that are just as supportive as you are.
Yeah. And it just I think for anyone to get better, you have to make mistakes to to learn. In order to it's like in order to evolve, you have to in order to advance, you have to learn. In order to learn, you have to fail. You have to make mistakes. That's just the part of the cycle of becoming what you want to be. You have to, and I think Paul Heyman said this best. Sometimes you have to look forward to failing in order to learn to get better. And I know some people, it's like, I know I'm using the mentality of the advice of a manager from wrestling, but I think he made a very valid point because in order to fail, I mean, in order to succeed, sometimes you have to embrace your fear and look forward to failing, because at least with failure you can learn what you did wrong. So when you get back up and bandage your wounds, you can go back at it wiser and know, okay, this is what I did wrong, and this is why it was wrong, and this is how I can do this better. The what, why, and how. And
Like, no, and just to add to that point, progress is progress, man. Like, I don't care how anyone puts it. If I take one of my films that I did back in 2015 or even helped with in 2015 and I compare it to what I'm doing now, there's no doubt in my mind that I can sit there and argue my point and win that, like, yes, I'm getting better at what I'm doing. Like, no one can take that away from me. I know I'm getting better. I can visually see that I'm getting better. Like, I know it's still a long road ahead, but like, let's say you do make a movie, you're not going to be totally that alone in making a film. You're going to have people that are incredibly skilled with, like, audio, visuals, anything like that. There's going to be that field of people helping you out along the way. You don't have to know everything. Oh, but that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from the like that perspective, that area of having to do everything yourself. I'm the guy behind the camera. I'm the guy editing. I'm sometimes even the guy acting. Yeah, and that's that's not always preferred, but you're not. I don't think you're always going to be alone in everything you do. If you're having issues with audio, if you're having issues trying to mix things down, I'm sure as hell you're going to find people that are skilled and in that same field, and they're going to be able to help you out. You're not totally alone. There are people out there that can help you, and you can learn from it. And if you want to do it yourself and learn, that's great. But like, as a director, it's not that's not your entire job. Your job as a director is to explain your vision, not do it. Like, that's a part of the process. Like, you obviously being the director, you want to be the guy behind the camera. You want to be the guy sometimes even acting. Quentin Tarantino. But like he said it best, your job isn't to know what a 50 millimeter lens is. Your job is to direct your vision, explain what it is that you want. And for me, I very much enjoy just being the guy behind the camera. I love it. I love doing these amazing shots, and like, although I might not be the best at writing a script, I still can. I like hell. I'm making a movie now, and let's move on to movies. Like, actually talk about movies. Like, we've I think exhausted our point in terms of settling and stuff. So I think we should move on.
Yeah, I think we pretty much beat the dead horse now. Let's leave it alone. Let it rot in peace.
Yeah.
So it was like, what's your plans in the future for film?
I know I told everyone in that little 200 subscriber clip that I was going to be making, obviously, another shelter. I still plan on doing it. The script is three-quarters complete. I literally see. Here's the thing: the script only has to be, at most for me, like 10, 12 pages. That's all I need. That's all I need. 10, 12 pages. And what I'm trying my best to do is make the last 3 to 4 really well rounded. Like, I want it to make sense with everything else that I've done in the Shelter series, so that I end everything off at a good note that I can lay it to rest and not have to come back to it. Because Divide, I tried that, but it didn't happen. I had some uh,
Issues.
I had some issues, mainly arguments. Um, but out of retaliation, I left my character alive in Divide, because that was quite literally my character was supposed to die. I mean, that's what it's gonna happen. Like, I'm not trying to spoil everything, but
Spoiler alert!
I'm not. I mean, I've already pretty much. If it comes to this point, I think they all can assume that, like, the character Xavier at one point is going to pass away. It's in his nature. That's his destiny at this point, is to pass away. He's dying.
Yeah, and just to give some more spoilers, Nar will return. That's always been the plan.
Nar will return, and I've devised a way that he can return, and so it's not very awkward. But he is very
More
much
plausible.
yeah, more plausible, but he is very much alive, and he's gonna be coming back for the last film.
Yeah, I'm trying to trimmed down on the weight so I could fit back in my costume. um, but yeah, it's just I've always enjoyed the shelter films. So I've been trying to help out as much as I can to try to provide props. It's like I've bought um, a metal, an actual BB gun that looks like a 1911, just with a little paint, a little texture job to hide some of the logos and stuff. It'll look like a weathered down 1911. And we got another gas mask due to certain difficulties.
Let me just tell you, I've gone through 3 gas masks. The one you have right now is the third. I've gone through 2 of my own. This one actually, listen, I didn't expect to make another shelter film. Everyone around me is kind of like, oh my god, you're making another. And then like, it's so funny too. It's like, oh man, you're making another shelter. Dang it. Like, are you ever just gonna move on? And then once I tell everyone, I've let it I've let it lie for a little bit, and so people are kind of now like, oh man, so are you shooting another shelter now? Like they're excited about it. And I'm like, before you didn't like it. It's like wow, this guy can't move on, and now you're excited to see me do another one. It's like, wait a minute, I thought you didn't want me to do it.
I think it's just amazing because it's like it's one of the only few short films you've done that has a recurring a character that returns. But and I think the reason I enjoyed it because it was like Nar was the first villain character actual villain character I actually got to play, and it's always been fun. And I always love taking part in those films. And I think and I think that's inspired me to want, and that's how Hades Helm Productions was born, was because Shelter inspired me to want to pursue film a lot further. So I've been buying, it's like I've pretty much have theater makeup from my years of community theater, so I put that to use for the makeup and effects and whatnot. And we try our best, and I try my best to provide with it, and of course using my equipment to help with that, so you don't have to deal with the BS of trying to rent equipment from Moorhead campus.
It's especially like with this film. I don't want to talk about Shelter forever. I want to save some for later. But yes, we are in fact making another one. It might be. I'm still trying to figure out like when a good time to film it is.
Yeah.
Like we attempted filming a couple of scenes in which they were coming along okay. Like if I had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, it would be a 5 out of 10. But I'm wanting a 10 out of 10. And like, if this was 2 years ago, the scenes that I shot would have been perfect. They would have been fine. I would have used them and not had an issue with them. But what I'm trying to do is get a tone. Like everything that I have learned in the last 3 years, 2015, 4 years in filming, like I'm trying to use every bit of that knowledge in making the best film that I can possibly make. And the scenes that we shot, they weren't doing that. It's like, okay, I can do better with this. I need to do better. Let's go back to what it is, the script, and let's see what it is that we can do to help better the tone, better ourselves, get the acting right. Because it's just us two. We're the only actors in the film, maybe a couple more.
Yeah, it's like when we did Welcome to Die, it was just the two of us. And we shot for like 5 days, and that's including the reshoot we did for the ending. And also, I plan, since we're talking about what we're planning to do in the future, I do intend to make another Mad Rads episode. I've been planning to do it for a while. It's just the thing is, I don't want to do it alone, and I'm trying to figure out a way, a format that works, because the whole idea of like a Mystery Science Theater version, and then a review, because I think one of the inspirations of what I did for Mad Rats was Joe Bob Briggs from Monster Vision when he had that show on TNT throughout the late 90s. And I wanted to mix that with the Mystery Science Theater and riff tracks, where, in the commentary, we're just making fun of the film and just having a blast. And I think if you could hear the audio commentary, because I know some people with, their PCs, their computers or their phones.
Some people can hear it, some people can't. I'm one of those people who can't hear it.
Yeah, and just like if anyone knows why that's happening, please tell me in the comments because I'm trying to get that fixed as soon as possible so I can put the video back up so people can hear it. Because um, we did a review and a commentary on Phantasm, and I know some people complained to me on the Hades Helm channel that they couldn't hear us on the review, and that frustrates me because I think we did a very good review, and we have a very good system going, like the 1 out of 10 for like these particular 5 sections of the film, like character development, story, entertainment value, music and sound, just to name a few. And nobody could hear it, and I'm just like, what am I doing wrong? Because I'm still learning editing, and Joel is pretty much steps, not just steps, he's leaps ahead of me. I'm struggling to catch up, but I'm wanting to revive Mad Rads, but I'm probably gonna have to do it in a different way because because I think if I do a review, it's gonna be at the end of the commentary during the credits, so that I can just get to the point, make the points, and then just and be on my way. I think that's what Mad Rads is gonna be. It's just gonna be a completely an audio commentary thing slash review, and that's it. And you're just gonna hear my voice because I think because one, it'll be quicker to edit and upload, but there will be videos because I do have I am planning on I'm currently writing a script for a mystery comedy that's kind of a parody to the film noir detective character, but you put that character in today's modern day settings, like their mind is still back in the 1930s, but we're in 2019. So when someone has a smartphone, but this character is trying to find a payphone, and those are inexistent nowadays. So that's kind of the gag of. So it's like I have many projects that I want to make, and I think somewhere down the line I want to make a GoFundMe page for a script that I've written. The 30-page script that I wrote for the Heads, which is part of a trilogy called the Darkwoods Trilogy, which I am currently working on a couple scripts. One called The Happy Ones, and the third one, Shadowgami, is the working title, which I will not go into detail about that one just yet.
I have a couple. We've got maybe 5 minutes left on this. I'm working on a couple of films. People keep asking. I'm. This is what I was wanting to touch up on a little bit, like in my 200 plus subscriber, like thank you video. People keep asking me about full-length features. If I'm going to pursue that, I still plan to. I want to pursue it, and one of those films that I was trying to do was Anthropophagus of Appalachia. That was a while back in like September of last year that I was wanting to pursue this, but being at college, a lot of people weren't really down for it, and for what it was I wanted to do with it, it wouldn't have been too hard. Like not too hard. Like since then, I've revised a part of that script in my mind. Like it's honestly a mess of a thing, but in theory, it would be really cool. It's basically about cannibals. Yeah. And I was gonna put this supernatural twist on it, and so from what I was telling people, it sounded really cool. But yeah, I still plan on doing a full-length feature. It's just it's gonna be a while from now. Right now, I'm pretty happy doing short films. I'm still learning a lot from it. But full-length features, man, you have to schedule everything out. I mean, to a whole different level. It's more editing. It's more everything. So it's a whole different ballpark mentally. And I'm not to say I'm not prepared for it. It's a lot of resources I don't currently have. So if that explains anything, so
I think if we do any further short films, I think we should explore more into special effects and green screens because we need to at least get into experience with that.
Personally, I don't have too much experience with it, so I mean, what you're gonna see is what you're gonna get. It's like
I think we could definitely. I think one special effect that we should look into is miniatures, because I would, because I'm very detailed with models and stuff. So I think that could be an advantage we could play with.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wanting to do Anthropophagus of Appalachia still. That's still a running thing. I made the trailer on my YouTube channel private. It's been private for a little while now. Once it becomes relevant again, I'll make the trailer public, and I'm probably, not only will I make it public again, I'll probably release another teaser to it. By the time I release the teaser to the next one, I want to have parts of the film shot. You know, that way I can just have something to play with. But again, still wanting to do Anthropophagus of Appalachia. It's just right now, I've got a year left of college, and trying to find the time to do it is near impossible. So, short films are working mighty fine, probably until I get out of college. So, short films, still wanting to do Shelter. Gonna do Anthropophagus of Appalachia sometime. Maybe not this year. Might happen next year when I can shoot it. But also, another film that I'm wanting to do is called Lesson in Fear, Lesson by Fear.
I can't wait for that.
Lesson by Fear. I'm halfway done with that script, and it revolves around a woman who sees death. Kind of like it's not the same as Isn't Death Romantic? This is it's a different kind of vibe. It's not. It has a comedic sort of vibe, but it's way darker. It's like if you had to make a dark comedy, this would be like the darkest of dark comedy that you can go.
Like a suspense horror comedy.
Yeah, a suspense horror comedy. Like that's really what it is. But that's about it. Shelter wanted to do Lesson by Fear, and Anthropophagus is coming up soon. Greg has a few things. We're currently taking a break right now with filming anything because we just did 2 short films. Been busy, but we're going to try and get back into it starting probably in June.
After we build up the funds.
Yeah, once we build up the funds, schedule ourselves out and do that. So I think we've got 30 seconds left until this SD card decides to crap out, and that's pretty much about it.
Yep. Well, thank you guys for tuning in for this episode of Uncensored Pickle. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, we'll catch you all later. Again, still working on films. We plan on doing a lot more in the future. Taking a little bit of a break right now. I mean, you guys got to give us a break too. But we've been doing a lot.
Quitting.
We're not quitting.
Never
Quitting, guys. We love you all. Take care. We'll catch you all later.
Viva la pickle!